But please, yeah, kick back and enjoy our next film, which is called Friends Online.
Hey babe, love your new profile pic. Have you got any more for me? Maybe in your bikini or in your panty. You're just so pretty. I bet all the boys are after you. You're sexy. I want to put my hands around your neck and choke you. I just want to.
Great, welcome. So we are going to have Samantha on with us. We are lucky enough to have her here. Now, Samantha originally comes from a successful acting background before studying film in Paris. This is Samantha's directorial debut and was developed through BFI's Film Academy's Screenwriting Residential course. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, I'm going to slickly bring to the table Samantha. Hello.
Hello.
Give you some nice clapping there, hopefully. Nope. Okay. Yeah.
Me?
Does that work? There you are.
Hello.
What we created. Welcome. Good to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
So, get straight to it. You say in your brief that we read that the project is inspired from a frustration with the social media age and its hypocrisy. Can you talk a bit about that and why you chose this topic for your film debut?
Well, yeah, so I wrote it whilst I was on a screenwriting BFI residential. Initially, I couldn't think of an idea for the residential, so I just pitched the logline to one of my parents and they laughed. Mm-hmm. I went, well, brilliant, I'll do that then. That was easy. Mm-hmm. But then the more I got into it, it was definitely sort of more of an insight into isolation into this online age, and then weirdly enough with COVID and everything, well, it's kind of become a reality, hasn't it, you know? But it's more also this idea, I mean, the main character's kind of a romantic at heart, really. It's more he's believing in this idea of a person, but then just sort of gets swept away. And it's also, if I'm completely honest, a bit of a piss take of sort of the male gaze, in as much as, not completely, big fan, but in as
Love
much
your work,
as,
male gaze.
yeah, we'll have a bit of male gaze. But when I was an actress, it was very much, you would get a script and it would be for a 16-year-old, and the very first thing she would do is seduce you or oh, she must have you kind of thing. And I would read it going, well, clearly never spoken to a 16-year-old girl.
Right.
Kind of attitude, but it was this very sort of overtly sexualized way of, and again, it's this sort of, you know, these two older men, like, this is what girls say, this is what girls like, this is, this is it. So it was kind of like that, to be honest. And I just had a lot of fun. We had so much fun making it. And I'm really glad that y'all can see it.
Yeah, nice. It's funny.
Thanks.
So they're both sort of presenting their fetishized version of what a 16-year-old would act like and how they would speak. But it's funny because it's the two of them doing it to each other. So there might as well not even be any 16-year-olds sort of existing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we only sort of included Unicorn Babe, the actual teenager, as a sort of joke that they would tell her to, like, you know, go away.
It's
I'm
quite funny
almost
for context.
there. I'm getting there.
Yeah, to play off against.
This close, you could just get out of here. Yeah,
yeah, right.
Exactly. So it's just more of a, and it's not even I mean, it's a fetish, sure, but it's like cartoonish. I mean, the whole thing is a bit of a cartoon, but with people.
Yeah. Very nice. So, that feeds into our next question, actually, which I'm going to bring up Arafili here. Arafili, Monsieur. One more time, baby!
Hey!
Hello, Samantha. How are you?
Hello. I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you very much for submitting your film to our winter edition. It's fantastic.
Thank you for having
we have an array of comments. Kira is saying that is equally creepy and funny.
Good.
Patrick is saying that is a documentary, actually, in modern relationships.
What, with people pretending to be something else? Yeah, right?
Yeah. So Patrick thinks it's very realistic, obviously.
Well, Patrick's got an interesting love life.
Matt thinks this. So we have a lot of similar comments, like that is equally funny and dark. This is our main thing. So I wanted to ask you, how did you approach these two forces? It's very interesting that you combine them in one film, and I love it.
As in the two characters, the two main...
the two forces of dark and funny.
Oh, right, sorry. Right, yeah, obviously. Well, I mean, so the reality is we all want to be understood. We're all a bit lonely. We're all a bit dealing with this online age. I think it's very interesting how the online persona is almost as important, if not more important these days, than a first impression. Because if I want a job, if I want to go on a date or something, the first thing I'm going to do is go Google this person's name if there's anything, you know what I mean? It's almost like but the thing is, you can completely construct your online persona. It's completely within your control. So it's a very interesting dynamic of who do I want to be, who I am, how can I marry them in as much as I don't want to be totally catfishing, but at the same time, I really want the best of me on show. Mm-hmm. But there's humor in that because fuck-ups. And so inevitably, there are going to be some mistakes. There are going to be some problems. There are going to be some, this is the best picture of me 20 years ago, you know, in a different country with a different name, you know. So it's that kind of mixing that with sort of more reality. And I think, as I was saying a minute ago, like, it's very interesting in this new world we're in, where, you know, no one is meeting anyone. No one is, you know, if you're applying for a job or if you're trying to socialize or whatever, again, it says, and which is why I can sort of understand this whole, you know, people get really locked into conspiracy theories and all that because they get lost in this world that they believe, and they want to believe it because it's the only interacting they have, which is a sad reality. But this was more sort of, it's the reality of how the online world is kind of seeping into not only, you know, who we are, what we want, but also our desires. And I find that very, very interesting, this sort of...
There's also an element of control that you have further to that point. So as you say with the conspiracy and in general, our online lives...
That's just more of a comment on like sort of what's happening now, but you know.
You have a bit more control, of what people see and all that. You can have your own fake news media about yourself.
Absolutely. If I'm having a really low day and my, you know, cat took a shit on me, I don't know, whatever, I can go like, oh yeah, but I'm in a bikini and I'm, you know, it's just very much where I'm having a bad day, but I can go, oh, look who I'm talking to. It's the way that the power that we have in as much as showing our online selves. But unfortunately, people don't seem to sort of realize that. So when they are online, they see these personas and whatnot, and they believe them, which I find amazing. You know, I mean, we're constructing our own, but we don't sort of always remember that other people are doing it too. Exactly.
Which you address very well in the
because
film.
They're both shocked. They're like,
exactly. Well, it was somebody else would be doing this. Well, you are a horrible person. Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, and there's also that like I've been caught out, but kind of by one of my own, so I'm not all too, you know,
I'm not gonna show them.
Yeah. Very nice. Yeah, because the comedy, I think your comedy comes quite naturally to you. You seem like you come across as a very good, strong filmmaking artist with a very good sense of comedy and human nature, timing, all that kind of stuff. But we've got, that's all we've got time for.
Okay. Absolutely, that's fine. Thank you so much for having me. This has been lovely.
Thanks so much for coming on, Samantha.
Stay with us.